Imagine you're a king, the most powerful ruler your empire has ever known. You command armies, you possess magic that can call lightning from the sky. You are invincible. Until the day your own power destroys everything you love. This is the story of how a mortal king became a god. Not through glory, not through victory, but through the worst day of his life. This is how Shango, the greatest king of the Oyo Empire, died in shame and was reborn as the god of thunder. Our story begins in the 15th century in what is now southwestern Nigeria. The Oyo Empire, one of the most powerful kingdoms West Africa has ever known. And in this empire lived a prince named Shango, second son of the great Oranmiyan, the legendary founder of Oyo. But being second born meant something painful. He would never be king. His older brother Ajaka inherited the throne first, as tradition dictated. And Ajaka was, well, he was kind, peaceful, diplomatic, everything a good administrator should be, and everything that drove Shango absolutely mad. Because Shango was fire itself. Where his brother saw negotiation, Shango saw weakness. Where Ajaka chose peace, Shango craved conquest. Shango was a warrior, a man of action, of ambition, of hunger. And so, after watching his brother's weakness for too long, Shango did what ambitious princes have done throughout history. He staged a coup. With the army's support, Shango overthrew his own brother and seized the crown for himself. Finally, the throne was his. And for 7 years, Shango ruled with an iron fist. He launched military campaigns, expanded Oyo's territory, crushed enemies, built an empire through sheer force of will. His voice, they said, sounded like thunder. His anger burned like fire. He was unstoppable. But Shango wanted more. Being the most powerful mortal king wasn't enough. Shango became obsessed with power beyond the physical realm. He sought out forbidden knowledge, secret magic, the kind of power that could make him not just a king, but something more. He traveled, consulted with mystics, learned ancient secrets that kings were never meant to know. And finally, after years of searching, he found it. The Edun Ara, the Thunderstone, a mystical object that granted its wielder control over lightning itself. With this stone, Shango could summon storms, command lightning, bring fire from the heavens. He had become the most powerful being in the Oyo Empire, perhaps in all of West Africa. His enemies trembled, his subjects whispered in fear and awe. When Shango spoke in anger, it was said that flames literally poured from his mouth. He was no longer just a king, he was a force of nature. And like many powerful men, Shango had 3 wives. Oba, his first wife, loyal and dedicated, who married him before his power grew. Oshun, the river goddess, beautiful and cunning, his favorite because, well, she could cook. In Yoruba culture, the way to a king's heart truly was through his stomach. And Oya, the fierce warrior woman who stole his heart with her strength, the only wife he made his queen. They were equals in battle, equals in passion. But here's the thing about having 3 wives with massive egos and divine temperaments. They fought constantly. Jealousy festered. Oshun resented that Oba's children would inherit the throne. Oba felt unloved compared to Oshun's charm. Oya watched both of them with disdain. The palace that once rang with victory drums now echoed with arguments. And Shango, powerful, fierce Shango, couldn't control his own household. His wives fought with each other. They treated his subjects with cruelty. The discord grew, and Shango's legendary temper grew with it. Power without control is just chaos. And Shango, for all his military genius, for all his magical might, was losing control. One day, after another explosive argument with his wives, Shango decided he'd had enough. He needed to clear his head, to remind himself of his power, to feel in control again. So he took the Adun Ara, his thunderstone, and climbed to a mountain overlooking Oyo. He was going to test his power, demonstrate his might, show the heavens themselves that he was their equal. He raised the thunderstone high. He called to the sky, and the sky answered. Lightning crackled, thunder roared. The storm responded to his command, bending to his will. It was glorious, it was beautiful, it was power. And then it all went wrong. The lightning didn't strike where he intended. It curved, twisted, followed its own path, straight toward his own palace. The royal palace of Oyo, Shango's home, his seat of power, his legacy, exploded into flames. Fire consumed everything: the walls, the treasures, the history, and the people. Shango's wives, Shango's children, his servants, his advisors, his friends, everyone he loved, everyone he served, everyone he was supposed to protect, gone, burned alive by his own power. From that mountain, Shango watched his entire world turn to ash. When Shango descended from the mountain and walked through the ruins, he found nothing but ash, bones, and silence. Word spread quickly. The king had lost control. His power had become dangerous. Two powerful ministers, Timi and Bonka, seized the opportunity. They challenged Shango's authority with their own magical demonstrations. When Bonka walked through fire unburned, the people were amazed. The crowds turned against Shango. The king, who once inspired fear, now inspired only pity and suspicion. When Bonka told him to leave Oyo, Shango, broken, grief-stricken, humiliated, didn't fight back. He simply walked away. In the forest near Koso, Shango found an ancient iron tree. If he couldn't live with what he'd done, he wouldn't live at all. He fashioned a rope and hanged himself from that sacred tree. The king of thunder was dead. But death was not the end. Shango's loyal followers found his body and buried him in secret. Then they made a bold declaration to all of Oyo. Oba Koso, the king is not dead. People mocked them, called them delusional. Everyone knew what had happened. But then the storms came. Lightning struck the homes of those who spoke against Shango. One after another, buildings exploded into flame. The same destructive fire that had consumed his palace now haunted his enemies. The people of Oyo began to understand. Shango hadn't died. He had transformed. His grief, rage, and power had become part of the storm itself. The king who commanded thunder had become the thunder. The ruler who wielded lightning had become the lightning. Shango was no longer mortal. He was an Orisha, a god. His cult spread across West Africa and beyond. When the slave trade brought Africans to the Americas, they brought Shango with them. In Cuba, he became Chango. In Brazil, Shango. Across the diaspora, millions still honor him today. Today, when you hear thunder crack across the sky, when you see lightning split the darkness,
millions of people across the world know what it really is. It's Shango, still wielding his double-headed axe, still demanding justice, still burning away corruption, still dancing to the drums of war. The tree where he hanged himself still stands in Koso. It's sacred now. Pilgrims visit it. Offerings are left beneath its branches. Because that tree marks the spot where a king died and a god was born. So the next time a storm rolls in, when thunder shakes your windows, when lightning illuminates the darkness, remember Shango. Remember that transformation doesn't come from perfection. It comes from surviving what should have destroyed you. And sometimes, the worst day of your life is just the beginning of something eternal. Oba Koso, the king is not dead. Shango lives.